Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. We have 5 offices across the Front Range to serve you.
Want to look 10 years younger and lose 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds before spring? Then it's time for Soda Weight Loss. Soda Weight Loss works without drugs or crazy side effects. In fact, our disclaimer would sound like this.
Side effects at soda weight loss may include looking better than you did in high school. Friends asking, okay, seriously, what are you doing? Long-term confidence, increased energy, the urge to take more photos because you actually like what you see.
I'd been wanting to lose weight. I tried on my own. I'd been seeing things for soda, and I was like, okay, I gotta go see what it's all about. It's a great idea. It's a great experience. And, I couldn't be happier, honestly, with the results.
You do not have to use weight loss drugs to lose weight and enjoy a healthier, I look 10 years younger version of you. With Soda Weight Loss, you get round-the-clock access to your own personal nutritionist, and right now, when you join Soda Weight Loss, your partner joins for free. Visit sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first, on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Need a plumber? Euro Plumbing has the lowest prices in town. Rock bottom prices on whole house repipes, sewer line repairs, even water heaters. 720-500-3000.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver.
You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan. It's Reaction Monday, powered by
Winding down a Reaction Monday and Victory Monday. Glad you're with us. Denver Sports Tonight. Mike Rice, Dante Gomez. We made it through another one, Dante. How was the weekend?
It was good, Mike. It was good. I mean, what a weekend of NFL, especially Broncos football we got, though.
Yeah, it was crazy. There are times, and the RamosLaw.com text line is open for you guys. We're going to talk NFL this hour. And a lot of it Broncos because of what they did yesterday against the Packers. 303-713-1043. There are times when I'm doing postgame and I'm trying to process what I've seen, obviously, in the moment as it's just ending, whether it be a big win, a heartbreaking loss, a blowout loss, whatever it is. And especially earlier in the season, a team is still forming its identity, and a team is still sort of trying to figure out who they are, what works, what doesn't work. You just don't know, and they don't know what becomes a calling card, what becomes, oh man, that's an area of major concern. All of that takes a little bit. I think it takes about a half a season for me to really get a feel for a team. And yet by this time in a season, it's pretty apparent most games kind of what I'm seeing. And last night after the game, Dante, it was so clear to me what the Broncos had done. And then the mark to me is as I take the next day and sort of process it and think about it, and engage some of the reaction from either in the market or locally or nationally. Was I on target in what I think I saw compared to what others saw? I know what I saw last night, and I saw a team that made a statement. I saw a team that took a major step forward, and I saw a team that showed it can win it all. I don't know if the Broncos will win it all. I don't know how deep the playoff run will be. I know what they're capable of. More importantly, they know what they're capable of. And from that standpoint, it was so much fun. The Broncos are back. In essence, they are back. They are back to be a division contender, and more importantly, a contender to make a deep run in the playoffs. I love it.
Yeah, and you were saying that, sometimes it's hard right after the games to know what you've just seen. And I think this Broncos season, even, not right after doing, Broncos postgame, even when we come in on Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it is, it's really hard to know what we just saw because of the roller coaster that the Broncos seem to do every single Sunday or every single game day. And I think today is the most convicted I've ever felt in what this team is. And they're a Super Bowl contender. They really are. I think they're, for the longest time, I've said that there's a big chunk of teams in the AFC that I think can go on and go to the Super Bowl. And that was about, 6, 7, 8 teams deep. To me right now, it's 2 teams deep. And the Broncos are in a class. It's them and the Bills, and then a big gap. And then the rest of the teams, you can throw the Patriots, the Texans, maybe the Jaguars in there. Some other teams as well, Chargers. But to me, the Broncos really separated themselves from that big chunk. And at this point, it is this might be premature. I think it might be Super Bowl or bust at this point.
Okay, when you say Super Bowl or bust,
that's the new expectation.
Okay, so the season is a failure if they don't win it?
It is not a failure, but this is your year to go out and do it. You don't know if you're going to be in the similar circumstances next year. You don't know if you're going to be, what did they play this season? Probably third place schedule, right? They finished third in the AFC West.
Yeah.
Chiefs, Chargers, them.
Yep.
You're going to have a first place schedule next year. More tape out on Bo. The Bo Nix contract is coming up soon too. So to me, it's go out there and try to win the Super Bowl this season. This is the year to do it. There's no clear-cut team that is a level above you. At most, you could say the Rams, and they just had their number 2 option, Devontae Adams, go down with a hamstring injury. So to me, it's why not? Why not the Broncos this year?
Well, and here's the interesting perspective, because what you said I think is absolutely true when you're in Broncos country, which is what team is a clear-cut head and shoulders above the Broncos. I think the rest of the league looks like says, are we at the Broncos level? Are we there? Are we clearly above them or equal to them? I think people in Buffalo, after what happened yesterday, I think you're right. I think they're saying, yeah, with number 17 behind center and a defense that still can be pretty good, and maybe a home playoff game if they can find a way to catch the Patriots and win that division. Yeah, I think Buffalo's probably feeling a lot better, even though they've been Jekyll and Hyde. But this Broncos team is capable, and they are, period, the end, the best team in the NFL right now. I mean, not only by wins and losses, but how they're playing. If the Broncos aren't believable now, if you needed to see the offensive breakout against a good team, how could this not answer your questions? And why, just like we were saying and everyone was saying, well, they keep winning close games, so clearly it's been sustainable. Period. It's been sustainable this year. Why can't what we've seen, the ascension offensively over the last 4 games, why can't that be the new plateau offensively or the new level that the Broncos are at? And why can't that be sustainable? I think it can.
Yeah, and do you know what's funny? And I pointed out to Zach during the drive, but this offense really took off after J.K. Dobbins got hurt, which seems so counterintuitive to what we thought this Broncos offense was, throughout training camp and throughout the first half of this season. They're going to be a run-first team. They're going to lean on their defense, and that's how they're going to win games. And that's how they did win games. And ever since he went down, Bo Nix has stepped up, and he's taken it to a different level. It's the step that I think everybody was hoping we were going to see from him this year after, had a strong finish to his rookie year, and it just wasn't looking that way for a good portion of the first half of the season. There was moments when he was great. The Philly game, that fourth quarter obviously turned it on. The Giants game, fourth quarter turned it on as well. But for the last 3 to 4 games here, he's played well throughout those games. It's the best I've seen him play, and they're not winning in spite of Bo Nix. They're winning because of Bo Nix.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And that was no more evident than yesterday against the Packers. Here's the other thing about Dobbins going out. It was, oh, man, can R.J. Harvey be close to that level? Where's the running game going to be? They got enough in the running department yesterday to at least keep the Packers honest, at least to keep things relatively balanced. I mean, they had 34 pass attempts and 31 rush attempts, and Bo had 7 of them. So Bo took a chunk of running attempts for sure. But RJ had 19 carries, 65 yards, 3.4 average, not great, but okay. Had the touchdown, and they had 89 yards on the ground. Again, you're not gonna say, all right, that's an outstanding day, but it's still enough, and it's still productive when you couple it with what Bo is starting to do in the passing game. I love that.
Yeah, and I think Bo. Obviously, this team's going to be a little more pass heavy with Sean Payton as your head coach. I think there's just no getting out of that mindset that he has in terms of what his vision and philosophy is for an offense. So I'm with you. It just has to be good enough. It has to be enough production on the ground. And I think RJ Harvey has shown that he can do that. I don't know if he's going to go out and win, Super Bowl MVP or anything like that. But I think you can win with him as your primary running back for now. I don't know if that's long-term success, into 2026 and 2027. But I think for now he's proven that with Bo Nix playing at the level he is, he can be a complementary piece in this offense and go out and still win games.
So many elements that made the performance yesterday special. And if you want to toss in yours on the RamosLaw.com text line, 303-713-1043. One of the things I loved about what Bo did is spread the ball around. Cortland Sutton, 10 targets, 7 catches. Troy Franklin, 6 targets, 6 grabs. LJH, Lil Jordan, 4 and 3. Marvin Mims Jr., 6 targets. We figured that Sean would try to get Mims more involved, and he did. 6 targets, 4 catches. 4 different guys with the touchdown catches, Bandy, Lil Jordan, Franklin, and Sutton. Sutton had the breakout game, and to do it against the Packers, breakout. He's a veteran. This is what we expect from Court. 7 catches, 113 yards, and a touchdown, 16 yards per catch. The long catch down the sideline on 4th and 3 was just a work of art. And they don't care who steps up in the moment. They don't care who steps up in the game. They have one care and one goal, and that's getting the dub. And I'm telling you, Dante, it's easy to take that quality for granted in a pro sports team, but it's not a quality that all teams have. We all know this following pro sports, and I think this is part of what Sean was alluding to months ago when he said, this is one of 6 or 7 teams I think I've ever coached that I think can win a Super Bowl, or at least get to a Super Bowl, whatever. I forget now exactly what it was that can win it all. And he was right. He was dead solid right, and the Broncos are proving it. And I think part of it goes beyond just the individual talents. Call me corny, call me a little sappy, call me a little dramatic, whatever you want to say. I think that the focus, the selflessness, the culture, the chemistry, all of those things are playing into the Broncos' success.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned that they were spreading the ball out, and it's a fairly selfless team. I liked that Cortland Sutton had a bulk of these targets and receptions. I think he should have been featured the way he was on Sunday throughout this whole season. I've been a little frustrated with the lack of targets that you're going to, I get it. Franklin's a great weapon, but he's a clear number 2 in the pecking order, and it wasn't being treated that way. So I was a little frustrated with the use of Sutton, but I think in your big games, you really find out who you are, and the Broncos went out and they used Sutton the way he's supposed to be used. Over 100 yards, that's what a number 1 receiver does in a game like this. So I think credit to Bo Nix for spreading it out, but knowing who to go to in the right moments, and that is Cortland Sutton, your most reliable option on offense. So I like the selflessness of this team. I like the culture, and that to me speaks a lot to what Sean Payton has been able to do with this team. I mean, the roster's not all that much different than the roster going into last season, and a lot of people around the country had this roster rated very poorly. They were
last.
Yeah, 32nd, bottom, let's call it bottom 5 roster almost across the board, and a lot of people did have them dead last. So the fact that you just tweak a couple pieces, we're talking, you add Hufanga, you add Greenlaw, those are the main pieces. I obviously adding J.K. Dobbins is here as well, who's not healthy at the moment, but for the majority, it's the same roster. And Sean Payton has just infused a winning culture into this roster, into these players, and a belief in them that we're going to go out and win the game, that we're better than the team that's lining up across the field from us. And not only do they believe that, I think most of the time they are. I think most of the time they are the better team than what they're lining up against. These aren't fluke wins. What you said, it's sustainable wins. Yeah, they're close, and sometimes the ball bounces their way or whatnot, but you win enough games like this, I don't know how you could call it anything but sustainable.
If you're going to call the Broncos whatever, fluky or not believable, in the context of this season, how do you then turn around and potentially give credit to the Bills for what they did? They've been a Jekyll and Hyde team that has a worse record than the Broncos. They're getting hot at the right time for sure. They're playing better football right now for sure. But based on their body of work and what happened yesterday, falling behind 21-0 and then finding a way to come back, they get credit in my mind for a dynamite win, a win they had to have, and now a win that gives them the confidence to say, you know what, maybe we can catch New England here. That division race isn't over. So if you're going to knock the Broncos for playing close games, every game in the NFL figures to be close. That's the way I look at it. Here's another part of yesterday's game for me, Dante, that was so impressive. Well, not this first part. The Broncos, on the Packers' first 5 possessions, gave up a field goal, a touchdown, a field goal, and a touchdown. And that took us through the first drive of the second half. And granted, that first drive of the third quarter was the one that, air quotes, featured the phantom DPI call on Riley Moss, and on the next play, the Josh Jacobs 40-yard touchdown run. Now, I don't know. I can't sit here and say, the Packers stirred up a hornet's nest by what happened there, but that is what ended up happening. Is the Broncos seemed to catch fire. They then punted after that Packers touchdown, and then it was the Surtain INT, and that really changed the tenor of the game. But I just love how through that stretch, the Broncos were down 9. There was no panic. Now, they've shown they can come back. It's a little different when it's this late in the year. The stakes are higher. You're playing a much better team than you did in those other instances, at least the Giants and the Cowboys, or the Giants and the Jets coming back to beat them in London, and the Eagles. We didn't know that the Eagles were not quite what they were at the time the Broncos played them in early October. But I just love how, whether it's they've been there and they have the confidence because they've come through in close games this year, or Bo is able to find that focus and that, I don't know, extra gear, that call on the clutch portion of his game. There was zero panic. And it just showed me that the Broncos, man, you have them down. You don't have them out until the clock shows all zeros at the end of the fourth. That's a special trait. That's a really special trait. And it's one that I hope Broncos country is not taking for granted.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only did they not panic, this Broncos team and their players seem to have that quality and characteristic of, when there's a fire, they're not running away from it. They're running towards it. They gear up and they're ready to go. When the going gets tough, they are, they do go to that extra gear that they have. And whether it's, extra focus or the clutch gene, whatever you want to equate it to, they're not scared of the moment. They go out and take it. That's when they're at their best. And they've shown that they're at their best in these big games, is when you're facing probably, to me, the best team they're going to face all season is the Green Bay Packers, and they went out and played their best game of the year too. I don't think, maybe defensively you could argue that, but at least offensively, they went out and played their best offensive game I've seen from them in 2025. So I like that they have that quality of that they want it. They're going to go out there and they're going to face the adversity head on and overcome it.
This is a really good question on the RamosLaw.com text line. I like it a lot from the 4825. If this week's win against Green Bay was in week 4, would everyone still be doubting the Broncos, or would they be contenders week 5? It's a really interesting kind of look on things. What do you think?
I agree with the texture. I think they would have been contenders almost instantly. I mean, I still think they were considered contenders during this big stretch of wins. I don't think people were totally discrediting them like, there's no way. They don't belong in the conversation as the Patriots, as the Bills, as the Jaguars, as the Ravens. I think a lot of people had them in the same conversation as those teams. I think now that they're just seen as what they are, and that's what, a 12-2 team that's, commanding lead of the AFC. I think that's what yesterday did. I think it solidified a lot of people's opinions of this team, or debunked a lot of people's opinions of this team across the country that, were saying, oh, they have a light schedule. That's why they're on this win streak. That's why they're running away with the AFC, the AFC West. So I think it just really solidified their credibility towards going to a Super Bowl and going and winning the AFC. They still have decent wins on there. I think Houston was still a decent win. I think, Philly was a decent win on there. So Kansas City, that was a great win as well. So I don't think they were being completely discredited prior to yesterday. I think now they're just in a, that tier 1, and there's no argument that they shouldn't be in tier 1.
I think if the Broncos had beaten the Packers in week 4, even in the same fashion, impressive offensively, I thought they were good defensively after that touchdown by Jacobs, but before that, Jordan Love got some things done. But there is nothing that compares to beating a good team in impressive fashion later in the season, because we have a body of work to call on. And think back to, think back to what the Broncos did. You referenced it a moment ago. In week 5, they went to Philly, and they scored the 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. They rallied from, 17-3 down, or I can't remember exactly what it was. They win 21-18 or something like that. They rallied from 14-3 down, whatever it was. And yet at the time, I still saw Philly as the defending champ. That was it was a matter of time before they got rolling again. And they're a good, solid team, but I don't believe they are what they were last year. And the Broncos were still, coming back and trying to win games late. They had lost to Indy and the Chargers on the last play. They beat Cincinnati pretty well in the first game that Burrow missed, or one of the first games. I think he got hurt the week before. And then they go to Philly and they fall behind and they have a good fourth quarter. So people weren't believing in the Broncos. And they weren't believing in the Broncos as recently as 2 games ago.
You don't think so? You don't think that Chiefs win changed people's minds?
I think it changed some, but I think, again, this is more nationally than locally. It's more anecdotal. I can't really prove it, but I think this game turned more heads than any other singular game that the Broncos have played this year.
Yeah, and I agree with that point. I think this was the game to prove it, the measuring stick game, the litmus test, whatever you want to call it. This was certainly that game, but I still think that Chiefs game gained a lot of respect.
Sure.
And you talk about that Eagles team, about like people were expecting them to turn it on. The Eagles, I believe, were undefeated going into that game. I think they were 4-0 going into that the matchup with the Broncos there. So people didn't quite know what the Eagles were going to turn into. Obviously, they lose the following week to the Giants. Then a lot of more question marks come up regarding them, and particularly the offense, obviously. But I really do think that Chiefs game gained a lot of legitimacy to this team, and then yesterday just pushed it over the edge. There's no doubt, and it's gone from it's kind of the fun thing is to have the take, oh, the Broncos are frauds. Oh, the Broncos haven't done it against good teams to now you kind of sound like an idiot if you're the guy that are saying the Broncos are frauds after what they've done the last, I mean, you can go all the way back to the last 11 games, but particularly the Chiefs game and the Packers game.
Yeah, and that's 2 of the last 4 games. So, look, this is you take a 12-2 team and you're going to call them frauds. Good luck. You're on your own. You lose me. Even if I mean, it's one thing to say they're frauds. It's another thing to say, yeah, they're having a great year. I'm not sure I still like them to win the Super Bowl, because you can have a really good record and for legitimate reasons be a team that not everybody's convinced about. But if you're 12-2, there's nothing fraudulent about that record in this league where, as we all know, it's so hard to win. It is really hard to win. 303-713-1043 on the RamosLaw.com text line. But to answer the texter's question, this game against Green Bay this late in the year is so impressive. And what I loved in the second half, and this is not because Watson got hurt, Parsons got hurt, but the physicality that the Broncos are playing with right now. They are brawling people. Defensively, they are a machine when they have it rolling. And not only did they turn up the sack attack, but they got the takeaways. They got the picks by Surtain. They got the pick by and Moss. Dante, if they can add a couple of turnovers per game to what they're already doing on that side of the ball, yeah, I mean, you don't want to fall behind by 9, especially on your home field, but that's why they have confidence to be able to overcome it, because yesterday it was an impactful performance once they got down 23-14. It was dominating after that.
Yeah, and you talk about the physicality that this team's playing with, and we've talked about it, even going back to before the year. I think Greenlaw and Hufanga are a huge part of that physicality. I think that's what this team was missing a season ago this time of year. Weather gets cold and running the ball starts to become a lot more important. Just the physicality in general that you play with. The referees tend to maybe let some stuff go, a little playoff football aspect to it, mindset to it. And I think those guys just, they set the expectation and the level of physicality that needs to get played with. I mean, Hufanga blowing up that run where they had the tight end in the backfield and he's the lead blocker. Hufanga runs through him and makes the play on the running back. I mean, to me, that was, I know it wasn't the interceptions of Riley Moss and Patrick Surtain, but to me, that was almost as important of a play on defense. And it just sent a message to the Packers of like, hey, we're not going to get punked by you guys. I know we don't play in, the AFC North or the NFC North, and those are considered, some of the more like blue-collar divisions of NFL football. And the Broncos are saying, hey, it doesn't matter. We're still going to out-physical you. I know we're in the West, and it's, sometimes West Coast football can be considered soft. The Broncos team is by no means soft.
Oh, my goodness. Not at all. This on the RamosLaw.com text line. Hold on. There we go. From the 5390, the Vikings were the fraud last year. You have better quarterback with legs, and O-line gives them some time to throw, and a legit D. Yeah, the Broncos are legit, and they're a legit team for several reasons, and we'll dive into that next.
The win streak rolls on. Bo Nix and the offense came alive and led the Broncos to a victory over Green Bay. Has Sean Payton established an identity that can lead the Broncos to Super Bowl 60? Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pros don't just show up. They prove how it's done, with precision and without shortcuts. Makita tools are built the same way, with a dedication to lasting quality, trusted performance, and results that reward your effort year after year. When the job calls for the best, call on Makita. Built to be the best. Available at the Home Depot.
The right financial strategies can make a huge difference, especially if you're nearing retirement. Adam Mueller talks retirement strategies with Mile High Money. Saturday mornings at 8 on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
FIFA World Cup 2026 is coming soon, but your opportunity to be there starts now through an exclusive offer with an eligible Bank of America Visa credit card. For a limited time, become a new customized cash rewards or unlimited cash rewards Visa credit card holder, and you will be eligible for a chance to purchase FIFA World Cup 2026 tickets. Learn more at BofA.com/cardFWC26. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 2026. Bank of America N.A. in partnership with Visa. Terms apply. Awards reserved.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. It's your last chance to get exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 35% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Mike Rowe here with another random fact. Those cracks on your walls aren't just cosmetic. They could mean your home is sinking. Whether it's drywall cracks, exterior cracks, or sticking doors or windows, do yourself a favor. Call Groundworks. I spent some time working with these guys, and they're the real deal. Their people are trained and certified to stabilize your foundation. Schedule a free inspection with Groundworks, the foundation and waterproofing experts.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
At Postman Law, we're not your typical personal injury firm. Our lawyers have argued and won at the United States Supreme Court. We've gone head-to-head with giant corporations like Uber and Amazon, and we've helped clients recover billions in verdicts and settlements. We bring that same firepower to every case, no matter the size. When you've been injured, having the right lawyer matters. Call 844-POSTMAN or visit postmanlaw.com. Others promise, Postman delivers.
Call 844-POSTMAN. Attorney Advertising.
Peyton Manning here. Throughout my football career, staying healthy was a big priority, but bumps, bruises, and injuries were part of the game. And for me, it's not just the clinical excellence and expertise that sets a medical team apart. It's also the compassion, kindness, and empathy they show. At Common Spirit Health, healing is quality care and human kindness. And my friends at Common Spirit are teaming up with their partners to spread human kindness and create healthy communities. Common Spirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
Imagine almost every jewelry legend all under one roof.
Roberto Coin, Marco Biccigo, Ippolita, Paul Morelli, Mikimoto, Tacori, Hearts on Fire, and dozens more, all in one store.
Imagine a diamond bar with almost every size, shape, and price range GIA diamonds.
And a Swiss watch center with all the great marks, including Longines and the legendary Tudor. I'm Dylan.
I'm Shayna Williams, inviting you to Williams Jewelers of Inglewood.
We've built one of the largest jewelry stores in America with one vision.
To be the only jeweler you will ever need.
For that perfect diamond engagement ring.
The ultimate holiday gift.
Or just because you deserve it. Williams Jewelers of Inglewood at the corner of Broadway and Bellevue.
Now, imagine their face Christmas morning.
This holiday, come to Williams Jewelers.
Where Colorado shines.
Williams Jewelers, we can make diamonds a part of your life.
The official jeweler of the Colorado Avalanche. Williams Jewelers, where Colorado shines.
Hey Broncos country, it's Terrell Davis here. You know, in the game of life, our most valuable asset is our health.
At Fitness Gallery, we have deals everywhere, up to 50% off. Visit one of Fitness Gallery's 7 convenient locations from Colorado Springs to Fort Collins. We have you covered.
This segment on The Fan is brought to you by Embers Golf, where your passion meets the green.
It's Reaction Monday, powered by Silter Har Motors. Here's Denver Sports Tonight.
Reaction Monday indeed. Mike and Dante on Denver Sports Tonight. Talking Broncos. Still basking in that 34-26 win over the Packers yesterday at Empower Field at Mile High. Want to get on the Bo Nix train here for a moment, Dante. And there was a play in this recent stretch of games that, to me, solidified what I think of Bo Nix. At some point, no matter how good a quarterback is, you've got to have a moment. You've got to have moments where you just show in the flow of the game, in the heat of battle, yeah, that was special. Mine didn't come yesterday. It did not come yesterday. And I've liked Bo. I liked him last year. I felt deep down that they had found their guy. It was, it's you never know. I mean, through whatever it was, 4 games, I kind of thought Drew Lock was going to be that guy too, and that didn't work out so well. So hand raised, I don't always hit. But I want to go back to the game after the bye week at Washington. The Broncos defense had some struggles in the first half and really throughout the game against Marcus Mariota. And Chris Rodriguez Jr. scored a touchdown on an 8-yard run with 2:21 to go in the first half. And the Commanders were up 7-6. The Broncos go 10 plays, 64 yards in a minute 58 and score with 23 seconds left in the half to go up 13-7. Now it would be a back-and-forth game. They would end up winning in overtime 27-26. But that touchdown on the pass where Bo kind of drifted to his right, got hit, was falling down to his right, and delivered the 11-yard strike just before his right knee hit the ground, magical. And right there, I remember watching that game in this studio going, oh my, that's a play. That's an elite throw in it at the time, a big moment. I mean, granted, the Commanders weren't very good and still aren't, but that's a game the Broncos needed to have, and against an inferior team, you don't want to stumble, even on the road. That was a big boy play, Dante, and that's just become more common. The moments that Bo has had, the command he had against Las Vegas, the surgical nature with which he carved up the Raiders through the short passing game, because that's what the game plan dictated. And then yesterday, extending that out a little bit more, the strikes down the field, particularly in the second half. This guy's going to be around a long, long time. I am so bullish on Bo, and that's why I thought Zach made a really interesting comment about you love being in this place where the Broncos are right now, and yet at the same time it feels like they're just getting started, and that's because Bo is so young, and there's still so much upside in terms of learning the offense, having that offense be second nature to where it's even more reaction, more just without thinking, just playing within the flow. It's remarkable where they are and remarkable where they could be.
Yeah, I think it's only up from here for Bo Nix and this Broncos offense. I mean, to me, it's really been broadcast to the country. Once J.K. Dobbins went out, Bo Nix's ability to step up, take control of this offense, again, be the reason that this offense is scoring points, not just a cog in the machine. No, he's leading this team. He has complete control of this huddle. Not that he never, didn't have control of the offense earlier, but you just see it on full display the last 4 weeks since Dobbins has gone out. And I think he just shows it to Broncos country, shows it to the coaching staff, shows it to, everyone, football fans across the country, of who Bo Nix is and what he can be in this Sean Payton offense. And I'm with you. I think it's only going to get better once he gets more comfortable in this Sean Payton offense. Another offseason going into year 3, another offseason going into year 4. And I just think that he can really be what Sean Payton said before the year, he can be a top, what did he say, top 5 quarterback in the NFL? I want to say that was what he said. And you see the traits there. And he's going to do all the things right off the field as well. And then on the field, he can go above the X's and O's, and he can make the play. The Cortland Sutton touchdown in Washington, he can go out and make a play like that. Even the Michael Bandy touchdown yesterday, that involved him on the move, throwing the ball, making, when Micah Parsons gets injured, that's, Bo Nix, obviously, the injury was not what you want to see as the result of the play, but him just juking, Micah Parsons' shoes off basically in that play. So I think his ability to go above and beyond in the offense with the physical traits, and you match that with his mental abilities and capabilities with the offense and reading defenses, I really think he has all the tools in the tool belt. I don't know if he'll ever be Josh Allen, but, Josh Allen's talked about, he won the MVP. He's talked about as the number one, quarterback in an era that has Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. So I think if you're hoping for that, maybe he doesn't have that in his belt, but I think he can easily be a top 5 guy for the next decade here.
Yeah, and I think, as the old saying goes, he needs to be Bo. He needs to be who he is and not worry about being Josh. And part of what makes Bo special, he has fun playing the game. He is eating up these close game situations down the stretch. He relishes it. He embraces it. He's laughing on the sideline, and it's not out of disrespect, but it's out of the fact that that's who he is. And that's, he loves those moments. And he absolutely, man, that's part of it. He and Sean Payton lets him be that guy. And Bo talked about that.
I think so. I think at the same time, personality can also show in the tough times. Appreciate Coach for letting me be my authentic self, and I appreciate him for letting me be competitive. And he hasn't taken that fire away from me. Together, we're just working really well off of each other. He just trusts me, and I can tell by the way he's calling it. And then my job is to turn around and protect him and, keep his call safe. And we talk about play caller intent a lot as a quarterback room, and take the intent. What does he want out of this play? And then at the end of the day, you got to protect it. And so I feel like it's only year 2, but I think the more and more reps that I'm able to get, with him in my ear during games, it's just been, we've been able to grow. We've been able to develop with each other. It's not easy for him after so long with one consistent quarterback who is absolutely dominant in this league to take a younger guy and trust him. It's hard, but I really appreciate that. I appreciate the opportunity that he's given me, and I think together we got something going right now. And I thought at the same time he's extremely competitive himself, so I always wanted that. It's just a coach that was going to compete for me, compete with me, go out there and just let me play, and that's what he does. I think it's working, and we're going to continue to find ways to make it work even more.
Man, Bo covered a lot of ground in there, and aside from his sort of joy playing the game, he's got a sense of the bigger picture. For a second-year quarterback who earned the job but was drafted with the intent that he was going to be the starter, to take the approach and in year 2 talk openly about how it's not easy for a veteran coach to work with a young quarterback, have the patience with a young quarterback. Man, I'm telling you, Dante, that's not how all quarterbacks are. There's a lot of chest thumping in the NFL, and Bo's not that guy, and I love that about him.
Yeah, I would say most quarterbacks are the opposite of it's about me. It's about where I'm the reason that my college team was great. I'm the reason that my NFL team is going to be great. And Bo just doesn't seem to have that quality about him. He's very team first. He's very coaching staff first, and he's he's willing to sit down and learn, I think. I think he doesn't have this ego about him that he's going to go out and he's already the best quarterback. He's a first-round draft pick. I think a lot of guys have the temperament about them that they are like, I'm all that in a bag of chips, and he just doesn't seem to have that. And when you were talking, it reminded me of Zach, when Zach calls him and he says he has CEO energy, and he does. He sees the bigger picture, but all while seeing the bigger picture, and Peyton Manning had this as well. Seeing the bigger picture, he's relatable to the guys in that locker room. They want to go out and play hard for him. He doesn't see himself as, the Russell Wilson of 2022, where it's like, this is my office, and, if you guys want to get in touch with me, here's my secretary's number, because I'm not going to give you my own phone number. It's like, no, Bo's one of the guys in the locker room, but he's also able to see this big picture and know how important he is into, the Broncos machine that it is.
In some ways, the playoff picture crystallized for the Broncos with the win yesterday. There were other storylines. Old Man Rivers is back. A look around the NFL is next.
The Broncos went toe-to-toe with the Packers and walked away with their 11th straight win. Has the path been cleared for Denver to secure the #1 seed in the AFC? Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
So Pure Talk just had their best year ever and asked me if I'd like to thank their customers on their behalf for being so awesome. I said sure. It's important to say thanks, especially this time of year, which is why, as one of their many satisfied customers, I should probably thank Pure Talk first for keeping their customer service in this country and for providing hundreds of American jobs. I appreciate that. I also appreciate their Roundup program, which makes it easy to support America's Warrior Partnership and join the fight against veteran suicide. And I love that Pure Talk donated 1,000 hand-sewn made-in-America flags to veterans around Independence Day. And of course, I really appreciate their generous support of my own foundation, MicroWorks, and their commitment to help us train the next generation of skilled workers. Having said all that, it's now my pleasure, on behalf of everyone at Pure Talk, to thank you sincerely for choosing to do business with an American wireless company that actually stands for something. And one more thing. Merry Christmas.
You gave years, maybe decades to your job. You showed up, worked hard, and planned for retirement. But now, the company's changed. Or maybe you've taken a buyout or been forced into early retirement. So, what happens next? I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you've built up a 401k or thrift savings plan, now is the time to ask, is that money really working for you? Many workplace retirement plans offer limited options and even less guidance. At Trajan Wealth, we help people just like you roll over their accounts into IRAs with more flexibility and personalized investment strategies built around your goals. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a personalized plan. We operate on veteran values, service, trust, and doing what's right. Your next chapter starts now. Call Trajan today, 720-204-8100. That's 720-204-8100.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. See website for details.
Dan Jacobs for 303 Law 4040, and I'm here with that beautiful voice you hear on the other end of the phone oftentimes when you call 303 Law 4040. It's my lovely wife, Kimberly. Kim, I know you and I had so much fun the other day. We actually met with a couple that had been in an accident up north in their house the other day, and Randy was so excited. He's like, I can't believe it. It's the lovely wife. She's right here in my kitchen.
He's too kind. It was really great to meet him and his wife and his pets and just be able to help them.
I think it helps that when you answer the phone, when people call 303 Law 4040, it makes things, I know calling a lawyer can be scary, but I don't know, your soothing voice just makes it a little bit easier.
Well, I just want to help. That's all. And I know how to do that.
I love the holidays. I always like to wish our listeners happy holidays. Would you like to do so as well?
Absolutely. Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful new year.
And I hope you never need us, but just in case, save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. It's 303 Law 4040. That's 303 Law 4040.
FIFA World Cup 2026 is coming soon, but your opportunity to be there starts now through an exclusive offer with an eligible Bank of America Visa credit card. For a limited time, become a new customized cash rewards or unlimited cash rewards Visa credit card holder, and you will be eligible for a chance to purchase FIFA World Cup 2026 tickets. Learn more at BofA.com/cardFWC26. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 2026. Bank of America N.A. in partnership with Visa. Terms apply. Rights reserved.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here from my friends at Xfinity. What if more reliable didn't mean more expensive? With Xfinity, you can get reliable, fiber-powered Wi-Fi for less. We're talking intelligent gig-speed Wi-Fi for $50 a month. This holiday season through January 4th, Xfinity is offering their best price on gig-speed Wi-Fi, guaranteed for 5 years. No contracts, no strings attached. You could save $3,000 over Verizon and AT&T. Imagine getting super fast Wi-Fi at the same price for 5 years. Get everything you need from Xfinity, their best Wi-Fi equipment, and even unlimited data, all included at their best price. Get ready to be wowed by your Wi-Fi. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto-paid with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Internet powered by fiber and connected to premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary. Savings based on promo and post-promo prices for 1 gig internet, 1 unlimited line, and Peacock Premium versus Verizon 1 gig internet and AT&T 1000 internet and 1 unlimited starter SL line.
Stay up to date on the Broncos and the latest news from around the league with our NFL insider James Palmer, exclusively on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Mondays on The Rundown with Richie Carney, Tuesday afternoons on The Drive, and Friday mornings on Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth, all season long. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app. It's Reaction Monday, powered by Silter Har Motors. Here's Denver Sports Tonight.
Mike and Dante on this Reaction Monday, 303-713-1043 on the RamosLaw.com text line. Broncos have the best record in the NFL at 12-2. In the AFC, the Patriots blow a big early lead against the Bills and lose at home. The Jaguars are in third behind the Broncos and Patriots. Then the Steelers, Chargers, Bills, and Texans respectively round out the top 7. The one thing that I learned yesterday is that the Broncos are the team to beat in the AFC. And it's not just because they're in the driver's seat for the number 1 seed. They're just playing great football. And from that standpoint, we had a texter on the RamosLaw.com text line from the 9563 say, I know we want to celebrate this one, but are we at all worried about the Jaguars coming in here? This is the team that wants to prove they aren't fraudulent. Yeah, the Jaguars are a good team. They are. But the Broncos at home are a better football team. Now, they're going to have to go play well, or else they're going to stand a chance to lose. But Dante, this is the rest of the AFC going, how are we going to potentially beat the Broncos? Probably beating them in Denver. That's daunting right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not saying the Jaguars can't come in here and win next week. I think you have to go out and play well, the way they were able to play well this last weekend as they beat the Packers. But I think, again, if the Broncos play their best game and the Jaguars play their best game, I have no doubt that results in a Broncos win. And I think you could say that about pretty much every team in the NFL, or in the AFC at least. I think there's maybe a handful of teams that when they play their best and the Broncos play their best, you're still looking at a coin flip game. But I think you nailed it. The Broncos are the team to beat in the AFC. I think everybody should be gunning for them at this point. And I get, you said they're in the 1 seed and New England's looking up at them at this point. I will say if the Broncos come out and lose this next week to the Jaguars, that Week 18 game against the Chargers gets very interesting, as the Chargers, if they were able to beat the Broncos in that game, they would own the tiebreaker for the division, and this whole thing can flip very quickly from that 1 seed to that 5 seed. So it's very important they take care of business next weekend.
Yeah, 2 wins, and they're gonna lock up the number 1 seed. That's a given. We know that. But you're right. There's still work to do, and that's what I love about Sean. Sean addressed this. He said, Hold on. Don't talk about playing for seeding. We haven't even accomplished any of our goals yet. Win the division, get the best seed, win the Super Bowl. They haven't won the division. Chargers are 2 games back, and with 3 games,
it's really 1 game back.
Yes,
because of the tiebreaker.
There's head-to-head. That's right, and there's a chance for the Chargers to chop 1 game off that 2-game lead, and then it would be a sweep if they're able to do that. So. And that's going to help keep the Broncos focused. And this is not a Broncos team that overlooks anybody. That I settled in my heart and mind. You don't think so?
I think they've overlooked some teams this year. You think that Raiders Thursday night game, they weren't overlooking them a little bit? You think that was their best possible performance they could have thrown?
No.
The Jets game in London, that wasn't their best possible.
Let's talk about the Raiders game for a second. Okay, I'll give you that. That could have been one of the factors, but Sean after that game said, I had a terrible game plan. Now, again, was he protecting his guys? Maybe. Was he really upset at their effort and execution? Yeah, maybe. But do I think the Broncos went in thinking, yeah, we're just going to be able to cruise past the Raiders? I don't think that. Do you?
I do. I think they didn't come out with their best punch in that Raiders game. And I was going to add on the Jets game too. I don't think either of those games they went out with their best foot forward, best game plan, executed as highly as they could have. And I think that's evident by the final scores. Those games should have been blowouts. And the most recent Raiders game, I know it was only, an 8-point win, 7-point win by the end of it. I think that is a very different story because they were in control for most of the game. Those other games were, I would argue they were in doubt at some point in that fourth quarter.
I'll meet you part way. I'm just not convinced that the primary reason was because the Broncos just thought they could show up and go through the motions and find a way to win. That would be the distinction. But I'll meet you part way. Down the stretch, though, here, I think we are going to see a Broncos team that still knows the goals that they had, that Sean just articulated in the last day or so, are goals that are still out there for them to accomplish. Nothing's been set in stone. No box has been checked off yet. And I think that means something to this team. I think the division title is a legit goal that they have. That's not just coach speak.
No, it is. And you mentioned that those were the 3 goals before the year. And Sean always says those are the 3 goals. It's winning the division, getting the highest seed possible, going out and trying to win a Super Bowl. So it's hard, I think, to stay humble during an 11-game win streak. But I think Sean Payton should be able to, keep them in line, considering that the division is still very much up for grabs. And they have a Chargers team coming in here in, 2-3 weeks here that beat them early in the year. And, hopefully the Broncos have a little bit of revenge on their mind for that last game. But you don't want it to come down to that last game. You want them to have that 1 seed secured. You want them to have the AFC West division secured by then. And hopefully that game is fairly meaningless for the Broncos.
On the RamosLaw.com text line from the 7645, Baltimore or Buffalo aren't worried about coming here in the playoffs. Maybe not.
I think Baltimore might be, but I think Buffalo I think would be a little worried coming here, but I think, again, when I earlier in the show I said, tier 1 of the AFC is the Broncos and the Bills. The Bills are not as good as the Broncos, if you're going players 1 through 53, but that great equalizer of Josh Allen he's just playing football on a different level.
He is. To me, the Bills, and I think the Texans are still a threat to the Broncos as well, a potential dangerous team. I tell you what, about the Ravens, they better figure out a way to get into the playoffs before they start worrying about, are they worried about coming to Denver? They have some work to do in that regard, without a doubt. Always fun, Dante. Thank you.
Absolutely, Mike. Look forward to doing it again.
He's Dante Gomez, Mike Rice. Thanks for hanging with us on Denver Sports Tonight.
For the second straight season, the Broncos are headed to the postseason. Under the leadership of Greg Penner, Sean Payton, and George Payton, the Broncos have reestablished themselves as legitimate contenders.